All right, this meeting will be live streamed. That's cool.
We are going live on Facebook.
All right.
Let's see, setting up Facebook. It looks like it's all right. It looks like we're live on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and put the invite there if you guys want to join us on Zoom. If you guys want to drop some questions on Facebook and you don't have Zoom or whatever, I'll do my best to get to it. Couple things going here. Savannah, I got you co-host. Sage, I got you as co-host too, in case you need a controlling thing. Do you have a presentation with us, Sage? Or?
Yeah, I was going to share it's not like a PowerPoint presentation, but I thought I could explain
Sure.
Minoan and then maybe give a quick walkthrough for people who are dialed in over video.
Okay, so I let you share your screen, but let's go ahead and start with introductions. Savannah, let's go ahead and start off.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Savannah Arroyo. I am a registered nurse. I'm based here in Los Angeles, California. I started investing in real estate beginning of 2020. I invest heavily in real estate syndications. I've raised over $3 million, mostly from healthcare professionals. So my biggest passion is really educating healthcare professionals around the benefits of investing in real estate, because a lot of them don't even know it exists. And that's how I met Alex, through very similar passions. And together we've been running this Facebook group for over a year now. So Alex, I'll kick it over to you and you can intro yourself.
Hey, Alex Sabio here from Southern California. I invest in luxury short-term rentals. We currently have 5 short-term rentals, closing on one soon here, hopefully in the next 3-4 months. It's being built out in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. And then I got another one getting built in the same area too. Maybe a year down the road, we'll see when that closes. And I'm trying to purchase hotels and motels right now. That's kind of what I'm doing. And my passion is educating and helping other people. That's kind of how the healthcare professionals investing in real estate Facebook groups started. And that's been amazing. I mean, it's been a year now and we've helped a lot of other people. That's where I pump out a lot of my content. If you guys don't follow us there, go ahead and follow us there. I'm trying to put content out there to help like short-term rental hosts, because I'm all about short-term rentals. And so I don't know if you guys have been watching I'm actually putting TikTok reels there now. Like my TikTok game is pretty weak. I think I got like 10 followers or something, but I'm pumping them out there. But anyway, really excited to have Sage Nathan on here. Something new, right? Minoan. So Sage leads the partnership team at Minoan. Minoan exists as a system to help hosts simplify the furnishing process and save big money with discounts on over 200 brands. They also help turn properties into immersive retail experiences where they can earn a commission on anything guests buy from their property. It's crazy because the more I look into short-term rentals, like the more I start peeling back the layers, there's so many layers to this where you could actually generate revenue. So Sage, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having me. It's funny, Savannah, I relate to both what you and Alex were saying, because, before getting into this industry, I'd never thought about investing in real estate. And as I go to more of these events, yes, it's for work, but then I leave the event and I'm like texting my parents, texting my friends, and like, guys, this I think is my next adventure or venture, whatever it is. So it's been super fun for me personally, one, to like talk with hosts, understand their pain points, what's successful for them, what's difficult, and of course tying that into Minoan. And then Alex with the luxury properties and boutique hotels, I definitely relate to that with Minoan, because when we first started out, we actually only worked with boutique hotels, and then we started getting into short-term rentals. But anyway, I appreciate you guys having me. I thought what I could do is maybe start with a quick introduction, and then get into a little bit more about Minoan, give a quick walkthrough, especially if this is being recorded so people can watch it after, and then happy to open it up to any Q&A. I know it's still pretty early on the West Coast, so if any questions flow in, happy to answer those, and we'll also give you guys my email address. So if y'all have any questions after the fact, y'all can contact me. Does that sound like a good way to spend our time?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, cool. Anything else I should know before I get started?
No, floor is yours.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it. So as Alex mentioned, I'm on the partnerships team. I've been at Minoan for 2 years and we're just over 2 years old. So joined pretty early. And essentially, I mean, Alex, did a really great job explaining what we do at a really high level. We just believe that there's incredible value that you guys are creating as hosts in these spaces, and that you should be, capitalizing on that in a couple of different ways. And so we just did a presentation actually in Miami a couple weeks ago for Bill's Mastermind, separate than the Miami event this past week. And I was asking people like, you guys have systems for pricing. You use Price Labs, you use Guesty, you have systems for insurance, you have systems for evaluating whether it's STR Insights or AirDNA, the properties, right, that you're evaluating. But what about having a system for furnishing your rental? That's equally as important, because as you scale, that's why you have these systems in place to help you manage this across your network. And it's important to have a system for furnishing as well. Like, you can't list your property without a bed, without, the stuff in the kitchen. And so what we've essentially done is go out to these brands and negotiate discounts on 200 different suppliers. So we work with West Elm, we work with Pottery Barn, Article, Wayfair, Pollywood is a fantastic one for outdoor furniture. I mean, we work with brands that span every category, from mattresses to linens to consumables to decor, and also different price points. Like Alex mentioned, he's in the luxury space. We have people who are maybe more in the mid to upper tier, not as high end. And we have brands that fit that as well. So you don't have to buy, a $2,000 West Elm sofa. We have brands that can support all different price points. So essentially what we built is a platform, which I'll show you guys in a second, that helps you manage that process end to end. And we do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I'm not in a live room, so I can't necessarily do a raise of hands, I guess. But I imagine a lot of you guys are buying from these different websites and then maybe managing tracking in like a Google spreadsheet. Maybe you're managing it in an inbox. Maybe you don't have a system to manage it, right? Like it's hectic. And so my background's in retail. Our founder Mark's background is in retail and e-commerce as well. And so we've built this platform to help simplify that. You can order from all of these different brands in one place with one checkout, one invoice, and then our team does all of the messy work. So it sounds great maybe while I'm talking, but I'm going to share my screen and show you guys. Alex, can I share?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you able to there? Share screen. I have it under multiple.
See.
There you go. I do see something pop. There you go.
Y'all can see?
Yep.
Sweet. So this is an example of something you'd see like when you guys log in to get set up with Minoan. One thing I want to call out before I get too far in is it's totally free. So there's zero cost to work with us. You don't have to have, so do we. You don't have to have 10, 20, 100 properties. You can just be getting started. Like you mentioned, Alex, with the people who are at the Robinsons event, people who are just getting, interested in real estate, and still sign up with Minoan. So no fees, no nothing to join us, completely free. This is what you'd see when you log in. You have discounts on all of our different brands. You could scroll through them all here. It's a lot to comb through, so I'll spare you guys doing that. If you sign up, you can peek at this yourself. And basically what we've built is a Google Chrome extension. So if I hop over here to Article, for example, one of my favorite mid-century modern brands, can you guys see this little green M? I'm hovering in the corner. Cool.
Yes.
So we built a Google Chrome extension. If you don't use Chrome, no worries. There's another way you can still use Minoan. But basically what this does is it'll pop up on any Minoan brand that we work with. So it pops up on Article, it'll pop up on Wayfair, it'll pop up on West Elm. And what this allows you to do is pull items from these different brands into one cart. So if you think about your traditional, purchasing pattern, you'll go to Article, you'll enter your payment and shipping information, and then you check out. And then you go to Wayfair and you do the same thing. And then now you have 70,000 emails coming to your inbox, and you're trying to figure out like what's going where and when is it coming. That's what we do, and that's how we help systematize the furnishing process. So in my test account, I only have one property. Alex, you mentioned you have 5 right now. And so what you could do is have a drop down for each one of these. So it's the Smokies property, Gulf Shores, Houston, whatever it is, so that you and the team can separate out your expenses. I want this sofa to go here, this mattress to go here. And then there are 3 pieces of information that we ask. You essentially get down to a product page. I'll make this really quick. Let's say you pick this dining chair. You would put the name in here, the color or the style. So if it's a mattress, what size do you want? King, twin, queen, etc. And then the quantity. And then you can add it to your Minoan cart. This is really important that everything funnels through Minoan, because if you check out on Article's website or West Elm's website, you're going to get, you're going to end up paying full retail. So important that everything comes back into Minoan. Once you started to pick the items that you want, you'll see something like this in your cart. So you can see here, I want to make sure I can see you guys. Okay, cool. Items from Article, items from Bear, Our House, Walker Edison, so on and so forth, all in one place. So if you're like, yep, these are all the items I'm interested in for my property, you would click on this orange request quote button in the top right, which sends a note to our operations team. Hey, Alex is ready to get, the final overview for this information. You're not waiting like 2 to 3 days to get this back. Our SLA is 3 to 5 hours, but our operations team moves very quickly. And so typically this comes back, within 1 to 2 hours. You would get an email and it would say something like, hey, Alex, your quote's been updated, and you'll see something like this. Pictures of all of the products, estimated delivery dates, like that's really important, especially now with how crazy supply chain is and how quickly you guys need to get these listings up and running so that you're not losing out on revenue. So if this date for whatever reason didn't work for you, you can scrap it using this little garbage can right here. So then you scroll down, you see an overview of the economics, which essentially shows you how much you save by going through Minoan. And then we also break out delivery fees. So if you're like, why is shipping $230? You can see, well, Bear Mattress doesn't charge shipping, Public Goods is free, and West Elm is, $209. So all of that is in here in one place across these different brands for your property. And then once you're ready to pay, you can do credit card or ACH. There is a 3% processing fee on credit card transactions. So if you'd like to avoid that, we definitely recommend using ACH. But I know some people like to keep those credit card points. So totally understand either way. This is one of my favorite parts. Once the order's been placed, like I mentioned, the messy Google spreadsheets and you guys having to, search to figure out where items are when they're coming. Our team goes in and populates all of that information for you. So again, instead of having to find it from your email receipt, put it in a Google spreadsheet, update it, make sure it's coming in on time, our team goes in and we'll populate all of the tracking back into your order. So everything is hyperlinked. So you'll get, essentially real-time updates on, has it been picked up from the warehouse? Is it in transit to the fulfillment center? Is it in transit to the final destination? Across all of these brands, like you guys, you can do that on your own, I guess, if you want to be at your computer for 10 hours a day doing things that, that you probably could spend time doing elsewhere. So it just cuts out on a lot of the headaches there. Now, if you guys have questions on anything related to your order, if something comes damaged, like shipping's not perfect, things will break in transit, things will get delayed. This little chat bot, you can see this blue, little chat bubble in the bottom. You can pop that open and it's a way to get in touch with our team. So again, this is just my little account. I've been testing some conversations here. Right now it is 9 p.m. Eastern, so we're technically offline. You can still send us a message. Our typical response time here is like less than an hour. You can send us anything related to, quoting, placing your order, making your space shoppable, etc., and have a conversation with our team right here. So there's no 1-800 number. You're not talking to a robot. It's myself, it's Allie, it's Holly, it's Natalie. Our entire team is, behind this chat. So you'll always have someone to get in touch with related to your order if you have any questions. But before I continue, are there any thoughts, questions thus far?
No, I tried to do everything on the spreadsheet and it's just, there's so many items that you didn't even think about, like furnishing a rental or even just replacing certain things. And it just becomes so cumbersome that at a certain point you just quit doing it.
Yeah, and you guys have a ton on your plate already, like dealing with guests, trying to find other properties, trying to, scale. It's a ton going on. And what you just mentioned, Alex, is really interesting because that's, we're a young company, like I mentioned, just about 2 years old. And we've gotten a ton of feedback from hosts like, oh, it'd be amazing if just like in Amazon, you could have a saved list. So every time you get a new property, here's the same coffee maker that I use. Here are the same forks and knives, etc. So we don't have that yet, but that's coming very soon where you're going to be able to save lists based on different categories. So here's all the stuff we use for the kitchen. Here are the shampoo and conditioners that we use for every property. And then you can save things like, here's a mid-century modern dining room that I love. Here's a modern coastal, living room, just to make that even easier for you guys. Because we talk to a lot of hosts that are like, oh, I just got a property I need everything from the ground up. And they're like, but I'm so overwhelmed with where to start. So we're doing a lot around curation. We have designers who don't work for Minoan, but really fantastic vetted designers that do use Minoan for their own business that we can help connect hosts with if they, want to get a little bit more help in that aspect. That's the first component of our business. I want to touch on the second one briefly because I think it's really, really important and something that I don't think has been, executed well thus far. And I think it's a really large opportunity for you guys as hosts. But before I do that, I just want to make sure no current questions on the furnishing component.
Are you going to talk about returns later on here? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I can
kind of
touch
like
on
a
that
big
now.
thing,
Of
yeah.
course.
Because every now and then you get so upset, you're waiting for this one piece. And since you guys are pretty much the middleman, like we're ordering from West Elm or something like that. How does that work out?
That's a good question. The way that works, and this is another benefit, honestly, is if you order stuff from West Elm and Wayfair and Article, and then something goes wrong with these brands, you have to talk to like 15 different reps and try and get on the phone with, a bunch of different customer service lines. We're your one point of contact. So if something's wrong with the West Elm order, if the chair from Wayfair comes broken, you just contact us and then we'll handle it directly with the brand and come back to you with a resolution. So that's more so like problematic orders. Regarding returns, the way that it works, we do offer returns. We mirror the brand's return policy. So if you're ordering from Article, for example, and they have free returns within 30 days, the same thing will apply. You still get a fantastic discount, going through Minoan. But if 20 days in, you're like, this doesn't work for me, you just let us know, give us the order number, we handle it with the brand, we'll get a return situated for you, and then just come back to you. So you don't have to spend 45 minutes on the phone or dealing with a customer service team. So the short answer, I suppose, is as long as the brand offers returns, we mirror that same policy that you would get if you were to shop on, their direct to consumer site.
Yeah, I see. I just love the whole concept of having everything in one, just dealing with you and that's it. I mean, like we were dealing with this today, like I wanted a new like egg chair or whatever. I don't even know what they're called, like
I know
rattan
exactly
chair
what
or
you're talking
whatever.
about though.
And I couldn't remember where I purchased it. Was it
Yes.
Walmart or was it from, I don't even know any of these places like Wayfair or whatever. So it took me a while to figure it out. But with here, the wish list thing or whatever it is, hopefully we wind up saving it. That's going to be a huge pain point for us hosts, especially when we look at scaling.
Yeah, and even in the current state, Alex, the way to do that would be all your order history. Let me go back to sharing just for a second. Let me get rid of this stuff too. All your order history is saved into your account. And so you can see all of your orders here where, for example, if you're like, oh yeah, I shipped this thing to this property and you want to look at this sofa, for example, you're like, oh yeah, it was the Nordby sofa from Article. And then you can click buy again. So even though it's not in that list functionality yet, which is going to essentially make this a lot easier for you guys, you still have a total catalog of everything that you've ordered through Minoan, since you started to 20 years from now, all in here. That's easily accessible. So you don't have to like dig through an email receipt and try and dig up something you bought 2 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever.
Also, one thing, Sage, I'm looking at the screen that you're sharing here. I mean, this is a huge savings. How is Minoan able to secure like these savings for hosts?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically we go to these brands. If you think about it, I mean, we're all consumers in our day-to-day lives. How many ads do you guys get on Facebook, on Instagram for these brands that are spending so much money, insane amounts of money, billions each year to get you to go boop on an ad, right? Like you could take Casper, for example. The reality is the fundamental belief of Minoan is like the best product experiences, they don't happen on screens and they don't happen on shelves. They happen in your properties. Like when people are sleeping on mattresses for 3 to 4 nights, or people are using the hair dryers on wet hair. And so we go to these brands, it's like, guys, you're spending $7 to get someone to click on your ad. Like actually though, what is it worth to have a guest come and sleep on your mattress for 3 to 4 nights? That's why you designed it, right? That's why you built it. It's not built to be in a box and to live on a screen. How can you tell how good, what the smell is of a candle by reading about it online or by looking at it in a box? You have to smell it, you have to use it. And so that's the whole fundamental belief. And the reason I share that context is because we go to the brands and we say, guys, those are not that digital retail is going anywhere, but the value of what we're calling native retail is what we believe is the future, where you can use products in their environments for what they were designed to be used for. And so it's just another channel, marketing channel, honestly, for these brands. And so we go to them and say, we work with thousands of hosts who want to use your properties in their spaces. Isn't that the best way for you to get your products out there. They're like showrooms, you know, little Casper showrooms, little article showrooms. All of these brands are like really hungry to get in front of people. And so, you know, quite honestly, it's been fairly easy to get brands on board because they understand the value of getting their products in front of people.
Yeah, that's great. Anyone else with any questions?
Hey, Alex, it's Erwin.
Start off. Erwin?
Hey, Alex, it's Erwin.
Erwin, always good seeing you, man.
Hey, man. Quick question, Sage.
Sure.
So does Minoan support net 30? And then next question would be, is there ability to like I would say do affiliate from like sell those to my guests basically, and then profit off of that through affiliate sales?
Two good questions. And the second one actually leads me into the other part of our business. So I'm glad you asked. To the first one about net 30, not yet. We are looking into financing options, with companies like Affirm or Klarna, where they have buy now, pay later, and you can pay it off in installments. But unfortunately, right now, we don't have those options. The second question, yes. So that goes back to Alex's question on, how we can negotiate these discounts with brands. The second component of our business is exactly that. We turn your property into like a shoppable experience. And so let me share my screen one more time and show you what that looks like when it comes to life. So can you guys see this new tab that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Erwin, this is what we can build for you. So because everything through Minoan is digital, let me get rid of this, sorry. You can see, everything is hyperlinked. So we know exactly what sofa you buy, exactly what for this, umbrella, coffee maker, etc. So it makes it really easy for us to then spin up something like this. This is an example of a property we work with in Joshua Tree. This one was like featured in Architecture Digest. This is a really well done property. And this is what we build for the guest. So these are their images that they use on their listing. The guest would scan like a really, simple QR code. It's not like price tags hanging from every single item. There aren't QR codes everywhere. Like people are spending a lot of money to come into your properties. It should not feel like they're walking to a store. But there are special moments that happen in those properties when you wake up from the best night's sleep on the mattress, like, oh, what was that? And so there's a really soft QR code that we co-brand with you guys. It's in like a really nice, I don't have one with me because I'm traveling, but it's in a really nice like metal stand. And it has simple language saying found something you like. It's not like buy now, shop today. And it invites them to explore. So they start to get introduced to like a couple products that they use during their stay. They can explore by space. Like some guests like to shop by space, where they can click into the kitchen and see everything that they're actually using. And this goes back to what I mentioned earlier, like what better way to see, test out a decanter than to pour a bottle of wine, right? Like you can't tell how good it is at aerating the wine when you're looking at it on a screen or in a box. And so having them, use the products and then be able to easily buy them. So if they click into this plate, for example, they can see the price, they can see that it's sold by Crate and Barrel, where there are all, brands for that. Then they can click on the plate, add it to their cart, and then check out. So for this one, for example, what's different between this and the traditional affiliate model is with the traditional affiliate model, you're linking offsite, right? So you could have like 15 tabs open because you've clicked on 15 different items. We take this and merchandise it in one site. So you can buy the coffee maker from Crate and Barrel and the bed frame from Article as a guest with checking out once. Same thing for you guys. And so the way that works economically is there's a 50-50 profit share on anything that sells. I'll use a mattress just because it's easy math. If a mattress sells at retail for $1,000, let's say we have a 20% commission, that's $200 of profit. You, Erwin, would get 100 and us as Minoan get 100. That's how we make our money, and that's how we're able to offer Minoan for free. Wow. Does that help answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Cool. No problem.
Sage, I'm really excited about this because I want to get into my place right now.
I mean, when you said luxury, I bet.
Yeah. People always ask, probably once a month, people say, I just stayed. I mean, we love that bed. What was that bed? And beds are expensive. I want to.
They are.
just an
And-
additional revenue stream is crazy. So
And you want to know what's funny about that? It's like it's only a small percentage of people who are actually going to take that extra step and say, "Hey, Alex," because they don't want to bug you. Their kid is tugging on their shirt, and life goes on. So the people who actually make it far enough to ask you, like, "Hey, what is that?" Think about people further in the funnel who are like, "Oh, I love that mattress, but I don't want to bug them," or they probably don't, whatever. So if we just make it really easy for them, that can totally help. I see there are questions in the chat, but I also saw Paige had her hand raised. So sorry, Paige.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. I just landed. I'm like driving in my car. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I joined late. So I just want to make sure I understand this platform. So is it basically to help me, one, organize all the furnitures and items I am using to furnish my unit so I can manage it from that platform? But the benefit is that if a guest that is staying in my unit wants to know where I bought like that egg chair that was discussed, like, so then they can scan that code. I'm assuming the code will be on the chair, and then it will like somehow route to my list, and then if the customer purchases the item, then I will benefit from it, and then your company benefits from it. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. So I'm going to put it in the chat. I don't know if chats are recorded, but just so if you guys want to poke around on that site yourself, Paige, you nailed the part about guests coming in, scanning a QR code. The QR codes are not on the items specifically. So because that could feel very like salesy, right? They sit down in a chair and like, what the heck is this QR code that I just sat on? So it's more in common areas, whether that's a living room, whether that's in the kitchen, just like a simple stand with one QR code that shows them every single product with every different space that you have in the home. And then up front, so that's one benefit certainly is being able to make money. But the benefit up front, if you're furnishing a new property or you just need to upgrade or want to refresh a space, is, and apologies if you said this, I want to make sure that you caught this, is that we have discounts on 200 different brands and allow you to manage, you can buy from all of these different brands in one place through Minoan. So instead of like, I always use the example of managing your tracking in a Google spreadsheet and buying from 20 different places, 20 different times. You do that once through Minoan, but with all of these different brands that you guys are probably already buying from.
Okay. And what's the discount? What's the range, the percent? The 10 to 20, 10 to 30%?
Yeah. It really depends on the brand. So I want to call this out because we've had some questions about it, especially in Miami about Wayfair. So I know a lot of people like to order from Wayfair. Our account with them right now is standard business account pricing, meaning I know a lot of you guys get business account pricing on your own. So our pricing would be the same. For now, we're working on a larger strategic partnership with them. However, even if the discount is at parity, people still like to use Minoan just so they don't have to deal with any of the messy stuff, tracking, customer service, etc. So I wanted to call that one out first, but it really does depend on the brand because every brand has different margins. I mean, I'd say our average discount would be from 20 to 30%. We have brands as high as 40 and 50. And we have like a couple where we're just at traditional trade where maybe it's like 15 or something like that. But for the most part, our discounts, I mean, we work with a lot of designers too, right? They get traditional trade pricing. And for the most part, I'd say our brands are discounts are what we call trade plus, meaning anywhere from like 5 to 10 points below traditional trade or wholesale pricing.
Okay. So is it basically, I don't know how to, I'm driving and not sure if the link will save in the Zoom call. But my other question is, so if I ordered from Minoan, is it just like Amazon, you order something and then it gets delivered to my house or wherever the location of the property is? So does it work the same way? So once I order it, it gets shipped to whatever address I have listed?
Yep. So once you place the order, our team will send it to Crate and Barrel, to Wayfair, to Article, whoever. And then those teams, of course, will then route the order to wherever your shipping address is.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I want to get to the chat. Alex, that's actually a very good question. I know that a lot of these services like brands, when they have upgraded shipping options, like West Elm has in-home assembly, white glove, where they'll come in, set everything up for you for additional charges. And we do offer that. The payment or the protection plan is something that I actually do not know the answer to. So if you guys can let me circle back with our team on that, our operations team who works primarily a lot closer with Wayfair than I am, I can check on that. That's a very good question and totally understand that that would be important. So let me circle back. I don't want to misspeak. So give me like a day to circle back with you guys and I will follow up with that. The other question, Liz, are you talking about the shoppable experience? Meaning what's the process for setting that up?
Yes,
Okay.
everything.
Sure. So the way that it works right now, I'll give you a quick backstory. So when Minoan started, we were entirely creating shoppable experiences. We didn't even have this furnishing component of our business. And what we realized is it was incredibly manual. We were having to ask hosts like, hey, can you send us a Google spreadsheet? I know I'm going against my own role, but can you guys send us a Google spreadsheet of all the links of everything that you've bought? Some hosts were like, I furnished this a year ago. I have no idea. I was just happy to get it done and get it listed. And so it was really time consuming, not only for our team, but also for you guys. And so what we ended up doing, we're like, now that we have this furnishing platform, we can track things. So once a host purchases 15 unique items through Minoan, then you become eligible to make your space shoppable. And the only reason we had to put in that restriction or qualification is to manage bandwidth, because it really can be time consuming if we had to ask you guys for every single product. We're working early next year to make that self-serve. So then there would be no, oh, you need to wait until you have this, you need to wait until you have that. You guys would be able to set them up pretty quickly on your own. But for now, that's the current process. And there are no fees at all to setting it up. There's no cost to work with us. I guess if you count this as a fee, I'll make sure I note it. There's no monthly cost or anything. Those little metal stands that I was talking about, those cost $15 each for us to manufacture. So we essentially just pass the cost through to you. That's only when you're making your home shoppable. And if you have like a 4-bed, 2-bath or a 4-3, we'd recommend like 2 in the property. So it's like a $30 cost to you if you decide to make your property shoppable. But other than that, there are 0 fees, 0 monthly, 0 anything to work with us.
But there's like a vetting process, right? Initially, like you have to answer a few questions to
sign up
with the service. Is that?
Yep. So you would go to minoanexperience.com. In the top right, there's a button that says join us. And you would click, are you a property? Are you a short-term rental designer? And there are a handful of questions. And then essentially our team just needs to make sure like you are indeed a host and, not just someone like me if I didn't work for Minoan and trying to get discounts for your own home. And it's a pretty quick approval process. I mean, I'm one of the people who goes in and looks at that information. So anyone who signs up after this call will be sure to go in and approve you guys. But yeah, just a few questions like, if you can send a link to your property, if not, no worries, ask you to tell us about any projects that you're working on so our team can help. And then that's it. It should take less than 2 minutes to fill that out, but yeah, totally free to sign up and work with us.
You can't like walk into West Elm and be like, I'm with Minoan, where's my 30% off?
Yeah, not yet, but during the quoting process, depending on the brand and the item, sometimes we can arrange like an in-store pickup. So if you note in your quote, hey, would like to be able to pick this item up, zip code, blah, 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 here's the store, our operations team can see, is it available for pickup or not? Sometimes we're able to arrange it, other times we're not, but it's certainly worth a try. But you won't be able to, unfortunately, go in and just say, like you said, hey, we're with Minoan, can we get our discount? Maybe in a future state. That would be nice, convenient, so you can see everything that's on the floor and just grab it.
Did you have more of the presentation? I think we stopped you there. Or
no, it's okay. The only other thing I wanted to show was the shoppable component, which I did touch on. But I mean, for us, it's just like you guys are already investing so much time and money in other systems, right? For everything related to running the property, to messaging, to whatever. I touched on some earlier. It's equally as important to have one for furnishing so that you can scale. Like if you can't get these properties, and whether it's you alone or you're working with a team, like you can collaborate with your cleaners, you can collaborate with your property managers, all in Minoan. So if your cleaners are the one who replenish sheets, they can come in and they can just reorder the sheets directly through Minoan. Like you guys don't have to have these conversations happening over text message, over email, in a billion different places. All of your ordering can be done through Minoan.
So my cleaner can have access to that, or are we just like sharing the screen or something like that?
No, they can have access. You can add them to your account.
Oh wow, that's probably a game changer for me, because we're talking about linens right now, and I'm trying to figure out how like to create par levels for linens. And
Yeah.
but if they could just go in there and just say, hey, I want 3 more sheets or whatever it is, that
Yep.
would save me some time. So,
The linen thing is interesting too, because
or even
that's-
soaps, right? Or
yeah,
something
I
like
mean,
that. Is that
the replenishable items, or the linen specifically, to get started, because sometimes it's 3 par, right, per bed, and so that can add up quickly if you have a 5-bed, 6-bed property. And so what we're working on is building out a calculator, essentially, where you would put in how many bedrooms you have, what size beds they are, and then we would spit out, okay, here's how many sheets you need, here's how many pillowcases, here's how many whatever, and here are the different price points of brands that we offer. You could go with Parachute and pay this. You could go with Boxer and pay this. You could go with Frette and pay this,
Wow.
so that you guys can easily evaluate it. Because a lot of people are buying linens like on Amazon, because it's easy. Yes, it is easy, but what's not easy though is having to replace them all the time, because that costs money. And so there are a lot of hospitality brands that we work with that sell hospitality grade linens and case packs that have stitching on the insides to help your cleaners turn more efficiently, right? If they're putting king sheets and twin sheets and full sheets in the dryer and they take them out, they have to essentially, use their entire body to fold them out and see what size they are. But if you could just quickly look at it, oh, this has blue stitching, this is a queen, that's going to make you guys even more efficient. So there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, I could probably have another hour-long discussion about all the things that we're working on. What I will say is we are very open to feedback. So if you guys sign up for Minoan, you start to use it, note we are a young company, so I totally will be the first to admit it's not perfect. It's fully functional. We're growing month over month. We're getting hundreds of new hosts to sign up each week. But the changes that we're making, improvements, are because we've heard feedback of what you guys want to see. So please don't be shy. If you're using Minoan, you're like, this is good, but it'd be amazing if we could do this. Or yeah, I appreciate it. We're here to help you guys. I'm not a host yet. I was telling Alex and Savannah that after my recent Miami trip, that's my next business venture. So I will be hopefully soon, but we want to hear from you guys, because at the end of the day, we're building it for you. So if we're not making it better for you guys, then we're not doing a good job. So the best way to provide feedback would be either to email me or to use that little chat bot that I mentioned. That chat bot is really, really helpful, because it's the quickest way to get in touch with us. And it's essentially like a round robin. So everyone from our team is on that. How do we know? Oh, that's a good question, Liz. So Liz asked, how will she know if guests make purchases on the shoppable site? Will they get emails or reports? Right now, the way that works is at the end of each month, you'll essentially get a note from our team with a report of what's sold, like a PDF invoice, essentially, of here's what's sold, here's how many units, here's how many unique customers, and then what the payout will be. Moving forward in 2023, early 2023, our focus for this year has been optimizing the furnishing component. 2023, we're going to go back to the shoppable side, back to how we started, and optimize that, where there will be a dashboard where you guys can log in and see everything in real time. How many items have sold, what's sold, what's getting most clicks, which hasn't had any action, to help you guys, inform future purchasing decisions. So there's a ton of stuff that we want to do. We want to correlate, be able to make the connection between, if you buy this mattress, for example, and guests are always buying this mattress, that's going to, one, be a good investment for you, because it's going to become profitable. And two, the second thing is related to ADR. If you buy Parachute linens, can you charge $5 more a night? If you buy a Dyson hairdryer, can you charge $10 more a night? If so, that hairdryer or that set of sheets will pay for itself in X amount of bookings. So we're a technology company. Most of our headcount are engineers, which allows us to move really quickly. So there's all sorts of fun, exciting stuff that we want to do to help make y'all's lives a lot easier.
Sage, so we have Michael Chang. He's purchasing his first short-term rental here.
It looks like he's in an office.
Yeah. With the
That's
microwave,
dedication.
see. So is there a minimum amount of properties? Can it be a first-time host that does this?
Yes.
And the other thing is the website you pulled up with the Joshua tree look really cool. I mean, that can look intimidating for someone that's never set up any technology before. Is that
Yeah.
pretty easy to set up with Minoan? Are we just uploading pictures, and is it like this customizable site, or is it pretty generic? What we're looking at, is it the Joshua tree property, or is
So
it the actual property that we have?
yeah, it's the actual property that you guys have, but you don't have to build it. Our team builds it. So now that we know the products, really all we ask of you guys is to get the listing images, so we can build out the wireframe, build out the spaces, and then we have all of the products that you bought through Minoan. We just
Oh,
go boop,
nice.
boop, 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 and then we work with you on how to communicate it. Some people who have a direct booking site like to put, a shop
Yes.
link that takes them to the site. People who have an Instagram like to put it in their link tree, the little metal stands that I mentioned. So for people who are intimidated by that, the good news is you don't have to do it. So there are a lot of people that I've seen hosts who maybe do like a like to know it or something like that, but it's the traditional affiliate model where you have like 25 tabs open. So with Minoan, it's all native in one place, and our team does 95% of the work. You guys tell us, obviously, by buying through Minoan what you have, and then we just need your listing images and to work with you on communicating it to the guest. Obviously, if they don't know the property is shoppable, it's a lose for you and it's a lose for us. So communication is a big component of making that element of the business successful. Kush, thank you for the feedback. I didn't know you were in this group.
Yep, I missed a lot of meetings because of work, but no, you guys have been great.
I appreciate that. He's great as well.
Yes. Is there anything that Minoan doesn't provide yet? Like, I know like automation is so huge. That's why I love this whole thing, is just because I'm all about automation and organizing, especially when you scale. But like,
Yeah.
we always talk about like electronics.
Yes.
I mean, are you working on like partnerships with,
Yes.
it could be TVs, or it could be
Mhm.
like, there's all these cool products that people put in their short-term rentals. I mean, is that something you can talk about? Like,
Sure.
we're working with these people, or this is coming down the pipeline?
We have a lot of things coming down the pipeline. I may not be able to be brand specific yet, but we're looking at smart locks, we're looking at TVs, we're looking at security systems, right? All of the things. I know smart locks and all these Facebook groups I'm in, it seems like it's
It's a
survival
fear.
of the fittest. Yeah,
Yes.
to get these things. It's like, I just saw them at Costco, like everybody runs.
Yes.
So some of those big categories where we know that we're not as well penetrated, like we have furniture covered, we have linens covered, we have mattresses covered, decor, but some of those larger categories, it's more of the unsexy stuff, right? No one's maybe going to get excited, or I guess in this day and age, you guys probably do get excited when you find the smart lock in the store or online. So the maybe less sexy, but more tactical items that you have to have: TVs, locks, security. Those are things that we're working on filling on the gaps, but I probably won't be able to share too much more on that. But those are all categories that we're aware of are really important to you guys and are actively working on, bringing to you.
The other question I've had, because there's other products out there that are available, like there's a list that Airbnb puts out, and the thing is, if you provide these things, you boost up in the algorithm. Like, it could be a can opener or something like that, right? Or a mosquito net or something. Like,
yeah,
is that something that no one has talked about? Like this is your kitchen, whatever you need for a kitchen. Like,
yes,
you just click on this button, kitchen in a box, and it's sent to you.
yep. We're working on that, working on linens, like I mentioned, where you can just boop, boop, boop. You tell us a little bit of information about your property. For kitchen, it'd be like, how many guests do you have? What's your maximum number of guests? Okay, then you need this many plates, this many glasses, this many forks and knives, all of that. That's a lot of work to think about, right? And if you're first starting out, imagine how, like Michael, don't get overwhelmed, but it's a lot of stuff to think about with how much stuff that you need. So we're working on building the technology to make that super easy. And that's what we're working on with the list too, Alex. Like I mentioned, like this idea of lists when you're getting a new property ready can apply to so many different aspects. It can apply to, here's a list for your kitchen. Okay, here's everything that you need. You need a can, things you don't think about when you're trying to get a property ready. You have like 9 billion things on your mind.
Yeah.
You're looking for an ice cream scooper, you need a can opener, you need a vegetable peeler. I mean,
Mhm.
who has time to think about that when you're trying to like get this property listed? The kitchen specifically is probably the most,
Someone that has no idea what goes in the kitchen, right?
yeah,
So my cleaner was like, "How do you not have a cheese grater?" Like,
yeah,
what? Who needs that?
yeah. And that's exactly it.
Hey, Sage, there was a couple more questions that rolled in the chat.
Thank you.
Can we use, someone asked, can we use shoppable if we already have the items?
In the current Minoan world, unfortunately not, only because of the bandwidth that it takes. That being said, if you get to that unique, 15 unique items through Minoan, which you'd be surprised as guests start to unfortunately break things, as things start to get old, you'll need to refresh. We have people who come to us all the time with fully furnished properties, but the reality is like, you have to still always be buying stuff. So you're never done, unfortunately. You're always going to be buying. And so as that list starts to grow, once you hit 15, Liz, what we can do is include all of those items and everything that you've bought before Minoan that were purchased from a Minoan brand partner. So if that happens first, or when we redo the shoppable experience and make that self-serve, which will hopefully be early next year. And does that answer the question, Liz, before I move on to Michael's? It may not be the best answer, but it's an honest one. Okay, I'll take silence as a yes. Michael, are you planning on having any interior design teams in the future? Oof, I need one for myself because I just moved and that is not my forte. But my team would say I've done a decent job. So we don't have any interior designers on staff at Minoan, but what we do have, and you should definitely check this out once you sign up, is a designer directory. I don't know if you were on earlier in the call, but what that basically is we've vetted probably 8 to 10 designers in our network who've used Minoan. They've used Minoan for their own homes, their own short-term rentals, for their clients' projects that they're working on. So they have a very good understanding of how it works and how to work with clients. And what we built is a designer directory where you can look through their information and see, what they charge, what types of homes they've done. You can see their portfolio and then have a conversation with them. And then, we've had tons of hosts recently because we just launched that about a month ago, connect with designers in our network to help them with these projects. So we don't have any on staff. I imagine that will be some component of Minoan in the future. I could say that about a lot of things since we're so young, but I think a good place to start if you're looking for true support with design would be to check out the designer directory. There are a ton of fantastic designers that I've not worked with on a design component or design relationship recently, but I've spoken to personally, and they're all fantastic. Good
There was a
question.
Facebook question, and I guess I'll paraphrase it because like I live here in Southern California. Joshua Tree is about an hour and a half east of me.
Yep.
And all the properties, they're all doing like the boho design.
Yeah.
Like it's all like mid-century modern and stuff like that. And I guess the fear that people have with using Minoan is, are we going to be all using the same products? Are all our properties going to look the same? How are we going to differentiate ourselves amongst other short-term rental operators? Because to me, it seems like everyone needs to use Minoan because number one, it's free. You might as well just sign up and you're getting like the discount and then the ease. But the fear is like, oh, we're all going to have the same chair because it was like 30% off or something like that.
It's a good question, but honestly, we haven't seen that. And I don't think that that's going to be a problem. And the reason I say that is because of how many brands we have. So even if everyone's buying from Article has thousands of SKUs. They have 1,500, not 1,500, let's say 50 different couches, right? It's very unlikely that you guys would pick the exact same everything. There are, of course, some bestsellers, right? What do people look at first? Reviews. So if you're looking at mid-century modern sofa from X and you're looking at reviews, a lot of those could be similar, but it's something we've heard from other people have used. There are other companies out there that are doing things like this. If you have a smaller assortment, if you're only buying from Wayfair, if you're only buying from Amazon may be a little bit different because they do everything, then there's definitely the potential that things are going to start to mirror each other. But with Minoan, I mean, like I said, we work with brands across all different price points. A lot of the brands that we work with have thousands and hundreds of thousands of SKUs. So I haven't seen that be a problem today, just looking through what people are ordering. And given the size of our brand portfolio, I don't think that is a concern. But I hear you, and I've seen it on Instagram and like Airbnb too. So maybe they're all buying from the same place. Maybe they're not using Minoan yet. We can
They're
help them
doing a
out.
better job than me. I mean, it still looks pretty cool. I do
Oh, yeah.
worry about the saturation part of it where they all look the same. So
Yeah.
maybe does anyone else have a question? I do have a Facebook question. Paige has her hand up here.
Yeah, I do. I have a question. So,
Sure.
one of the things I'm looking into is tailoring some of my units to be more like accessible. So, you know, people with special needs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, you know, would you guys have a, you know, I'm trying to figure out, would it be filtered? Would there be a filter that will have that will list like furniture that's like, you know, accessible friendly, or, you know, how would I be able to make sure that I'm able to purchase furniture, or, you know, whatever appliance, whatever, how I want to decorate the unit? Like, I want to be able to make sure that I'm shopping something that I can put in the unit and be like, oh yeah, this will be okay for someone that's going to be seeing my unit that has some special needs.
Yeah.
Paige, did you ask this question yesterday? At
I
the,
did.
conference?
Yeah.
Right.
And
What
I
was their
know,
answer?
and it was, I forgot, is it Sarah from
Sarah.
Thanks for
Thanks
visiting.
hosting.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said they actually on their Instagram they posted
She's great.
something on that, and they had an episode on their podcast where they
Oh, they
covered
did
that.
about
And,
accessibility.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then she did mention that too. There's a site called Rentable, like rent and then able, right? Rentable, and if you go there, that they have lists of like what are some things to think about when you're setting up your unit.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm just kind of wondering, I don't know if this is a thing to do in the future for Minoan, but I'm curious if there would be an option, a way to filter out, you know, furnitures and etc.
That's a really
on the
good,
platform.
no, that's a really good point. And I think it's, I applaud you for, you know, considering that when you're putting your spaces together. Currently, there isn't. However, that's one of the biggest things that we're working on optimizing is our like search, shop, and browse experience. Because think about not only like ADA accessible, what about contract grade, right? Like people want contract grade furniture, they want hospitality grade linen. So all of these different categories. The way that Minoan works right now, Paige, you know you're driving, so I'll try and be descriptive with my words. But once you're in Minoan, you browse on the brand's websites themselves. So if you're looking at article, for example, they might have a filter to accessible furniture or something like that. Because these brands already have the infrastructure in place, we haven't yet built out an internal Minoan catalog, meaning you go to the brand's websites to find the items that you want and then pull them back into Minoan, into your Minoan cart. That's likely going to change in the near future, but that's how it works today. So the best bet to do that now would be to go on the brand's websites themselves. I know that's probably not, you know, a great solution because that could be time consuming, but it's honestly good for us to maybe check with our brands and just send an email and be like, hey, can you guys reply back if you have accessible furniture, accessible you know, technology or anything like that that falls into that category? Because outside of accessibility, I think there are other filters, if you will, that are important to have that information for.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
A good question, Paige. I really appreciate you asking that question. Because I wasn't even thinking about it. When I talk about there's so many layers to this and how they highlighted that in the conference that nobody's doing this. Like you could
you know
really
the reason,
stand out.
you know the reason I asked that is like I'm in actually high tech, right? And that's like a demographic where, I mean, I'm seeing it from more of a margin, right? Where you can generate income just from that, because it's a very niche market. But I think that's like all across any industry. I know like Microsoft, who is one of my clients, that's like a target area where they are focusing on doing a lot of the research and development. Not to, you know, go on a tangent on that, but I also think in the short-term rental too, because what I'm thinking is like, I'm going to be having my units like specifically close to hospitals, right? like especially like medical hospital, like I am in Seattle, so University of Washington Medical Center. There's gonna be a lot of people that fly in for whatever medical reason they need, and they might have to stay for a couple of weeks, but they need to find an
Yeah.
extended stay, right? That is ADA, right? And I think that's hard. And so that's kind of just where I'm coming from. I think that's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
That
I totally agree. I'm gonna take that back to the team. That's honestly one I don't think we've considered as much as we probably should. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Does anyone else have any questions? We're coming up on the hour here, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time.
That was a jam-packed hour. That was great.
One thing, so like I said, Michael Chang, he's about to set up his thing, his first short-term rental. Can we start with Minoan from like start to finish and pretty much like try to purchase everything right there?
Yes, and honestly, I think that's the best way to use Minoan is start to finish, because you have nothing. We can help with, we can't do TVs yet. We can do hardware. We do have some companies who have like light fixtures and things like that. So I would say probably 95% of the things that you need to get your property ready, you can do through Minoan, and just not having to deal with any of the headaches. And that's also where you can secure the most savings. Because if you need an entire home, even if it's a 1-1, I don't know what the layout is, like you're gonna need a ton of stuff, going back to the emphasis on stuff. And so, yes, you can use, I'd love to even set up a call with you and Charlotte, who's one of our account managers, and we can do like essentially a one-on-one consultation where we talk about the property, what deadlines you have. Because if you're trying to go live October 1st, there may be some brands that were like, I would steer away from these given lead times that we've been seeing. So we can also help be thought partners for you guys. So Michael, I'm gonna drop my email in here. You guys can also, of course, use the chat, which I'm also in, but this isn't just for Michael. You guys can all have this. So you guys can have my email. Michael, if you want to shoot me a note, I'd be happy to set up time with you. Whether you're in the office again or back at home, we can find some time to connect. We'll work around your schedule. Kush, that's a good point too. What do you guys do for that? Snacks?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
we
other
do
companies that
chocolate.
are coming out, right? That are doing some of that stuff, right?
Alex, were you talking to me? Sorry, I think we talked at the
No.
same time.
I think like gifts, that's something that's there's such
yeah.
an early market, right? There's so many other things that could develop, and I think you're at the early front where you're organizing everything. Because that's what I found my pain point. I'm just all over the place with this spreadsheet. So
Yeah.
but hey, 6 o'clock now. Savannah, any parting words here? We'll just go ahead and end this meeting here.
No, yeah, thank you so much, Sage. Obviously, there was
Thank
a
you,
lot of
guys.
interest in this
Yeah.
topic. There were so many questions. So I'm dropping the link to the YouTube channel in the chat. I just dropped the wrong one. So if you guys want to watch the recording, if you missed the beginning part of this meeting, a lot of good stuff in there. So it'll be available there later tonight.
Cool. And y'all have my email in there. So feel free to reach out, Alex and Savannah. I appreciate you guys having me. Great questions. It was fun to see some familiar names. And please feel free to reach out to us, sign up. Again, it's free if you have 0 properties. If you have 100, there's no risk in signing up. And it's important to get those systems started now. So it was nice chatting with all of you guys, and I appreciate y'all having me. And hopefully we can chat again soon. Alex, I'll see you in the Slack channel.
Yes, yes. So the website's minoanexperience.com.
Yes.
I also dropped Sage at minoanexperience.com. I put it in the Facebook chat. So if you guys like miss it or whatever, or forget it, it's in the Facebook Live, and you could always go on my profile. So next week we are talking short-term rentals again. That's kind of the topic everyone's interested in. We're talking Western North Carolina. So if anyone's interested in that market, or some people are priced out of the Smokies, Western North Carolina has a pretty good return there. We're going to be talking with a realtor that specializes in that area and also owns in that market. So hope to see you guys then. Thank you everyone for showing up.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
See ya.